Good afternoon, mate. How are you?
Great to talk to you, Mika. I think we're on the eve of another lockdown. It sounds like.
Yeah. That's what it's feeling like right now. It's not looking fantastic. I'm not surprised, and I'm not shocked in the slightest.
It's a bit concerning. I have a lot of colleagues in the hospital,
Yeah.
and it's every day I'm getting a message like when I wake up in the morning saying I tested positive, I'm off. And it's like, didn't we already live
Jesus.
through this? It's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, before we get into that real quick, it's a bit cheeky because I'm cutting you off. Please introduce yourself and what you do, whether it be music and with your job. That would be lovely. Just real quick.
Yeah, of course, mate, of course.
All right, buddy.
I'm Nishant Joshi. I'm in a band called the Palpitations. I'm an NHS doctor, and I've been causing lots of havoc over the last few months.
You have. I mean, like Havoc, which I've been reading and supporting, and which has been absolutely beautiful to get the attention that it deserves. If you want to disperse any info about said Havoc, the positive Havoc you've been wrecking, that would be great. Let's dive into that.
Yeah, exactly. It's been what we describe as good trouble.
Yeah.
I've been getting lots of good trouble. I think in March I was working in A&E, our local hospital, and I saw there was problems with PPE, and I was one of the first doctors to kind of volunteer to see COVID patients back as far back as late January, and back then it's just there was a lot of people didn't seem to take it seriously, understandably.
Yeah,
we thought COVID could never come here. Everybody was joking about it being Wuhan virus and all of that sort of thing, and there was a bit into a serious gallows humor by the end of February. It surely can't happen here. And then it happened. And then a lot of my colleagues were falling sick. And we knew about asymptomatic spread. We knew about aerosol transmission, for example. And there was just a lot of gaslighting, a lot of denial from the powers that be about it. So personally, I went on, I made it my mission to raise publicity about it. And I was the first frontline doctor to break ranks and say, Houston, we have a problem, and that problem is that our government are going to allow a lot of healthcare workers to die if we carry on like this. And sadly, we've lost well in excess of 600 healthcare workers, social workers during the course of the pandemic.
It's not kind. I don't think it's even being acknowledged enough as it is. There's a lot of, even now, again, like you just said, are we doing this again? It feels like we reverted back to that late February gallows humor that you mentioned, even though we're still in it. It's so bizarre.
Yes, and I understand it as well.
Yeah.
I don't think humans are built to be perfect like this. No. And I think there's lots of difficult situations, and we've had our own difficult situations as well recently, where you have to make a decision saying, well, do you go, for example, across tiers for very valid reasons? And how safe can you be? And making all of these sorts of personal compromises.
Yeah.
And I think to have done it for extended periods of time, I think it's an incredibly tough thing to follow these sorts of guidelines for months and months on end.
Yeah.
And I think particularly over the Christmas period, where a lot of people have been waiting the whole year and almost being promised, saying at least you'll see your family at Christmas, and then to have that snatched away at the last minute, and it's purely due to intransigence and a failure to think, or a failure to accept reality, rather.
Yeah,
I think it's been a huge shame, and I personally know lots of people who, disappointingly, well, I can't be disappointed in them. I think I'm rather disappointed in our leaders. A lot of my friends felt that they had to kind of break those rules over Christmas, and I think unfortunately it's going to lead to more transmission.
Yeah, I mean, I'm of the mindset where I think it's almost a shared fault of leaders and people. It's almost like a joint effort. I don't think I can blame one sole party. I think it's a shared fault on everyone's part. And again, I'm not perfect. No one's perfect, and I'm not gonna have a go at people who broke it, because, like, as a human being, how can you not? It becomes a weird moral issue too, I feel now. There's always been a weird moral issue, and somehow it's always been made into a political issue. It's insane. There's now been a jump cut, and now you're wearing headphones. I'm not going to explain why. I'm just going to roll with it. We're just going to roll with that. Just going straight into it. I mean, have you and your wife had a chance to fully reflect on all of this? yeah, this past year? Because you mentioned this is the first Christmas you've had off in general in about 6 years. And obviously your wife's
Yeah,
been working alongside with you, and you've had a
yeah.
kid. Congratulations, by the way. It's good to
Oh,
see.
thank you.
That's okay. I mean, have you guys actually had time to pause? Because I think you deserve that this a little bit. I mean, have you actually had a chance to digest that yet, or are you still going to push forward until there's more clarity?
Good question. I think that over the last few days, kind of been confined to these four walls.
Yeah,
We've been able to reflect fully for the last over the last few months, and actually see, okay, did we make the right decisions at the right times and for the
yeah,
right reasons as well? And you're absolutely right. We haven't really had the chance to reflect fully. I think probably because, as I've come to understand, especially being a new dad
yeah,
back in July, a baby was born, baby girl, and actually understanding how difficult it is to be a mother in particular. I mean,
yeah,
I've had my job, which had been working in GP since August. I was working in the hospital during the early part of the pandemic. Then I moved over to GP practice. So most of my days, most of my working times is 9 to 5 on from Monday to Friday,
yeah,
and a bit either way. So I've always had some sort of structure and routine, and I think the last few days have kind of melted my brain,
yeah,
just not having that structure or routine, and that's only for a few days. And trying to be around the baby and that sort of thing, and trying to be there for my wife, trying to make sure that I'm not only a good father, but actually saying that I need to be present as a husband as well.
yeah.
Um, I think it's really easy to distract yourself through work and saying, "Okay, well, I'm off to work now,
Yeah.
honey. I'll see you."
See you later.
Whatever happened, and then me coming home and say, "I've had a tough day sometimes,"
Yeah,
whereas I fully kind of come to understand what Minal has been going through as a mother. I mean, I kind of always been joking around with her and saying, being a mother is the most difficult thing in the world because I'm a mother, and it's just like every new mother kind of says that. And I was probably not fully sympathetic towards her needs. And
yeah,
again, like you say, it's really important taking the last few days to even reflect and be a bit more present.
yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Has definitely opened my eyes a lot more. So yeah, way to make me remind me of my guilt.
Sorry. I mean, okay. Regardless of the guilt, let's step away from the guilt for a hot sec. Let's just not feel that, please, for the next 15 minutes. That would be great. I mean, that being said, still, with your band Palpitations, you still managed to find the time to whack out an EP, promote it. Was this recorded before lockdown? Was this on the shelf? Was
Oh
this?
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
we recorded our debut EP, which is called "Feed the Poor, Eat the Rich,"
Yes.
which was based on a French philosopher's quote saying, essentially translated into English, means when the poor have nothing left to eat, they will eat the rich. And I just felt like that was the perfect
Yeah.
kind of slogan for our times, because that was the sort of time when we were just becoming aware of, for example, PPE procurement
Yeah.
scandals, and obviously myself and my wife having been intimately involved in legal actions to understand what decisions were being made and why at a high level.
Yeah.
We were becoming acutely aware of just the level of what I feel to be corruption, and thankfully is currently very slowly being exposed as such as well, and it's currently coming into mainstream
Yes.
consciousness. But
Yeah.
when we released the EP, I think it was in May time or June, we
Yeah.
there wasn't really an understanding that that was the stage we were at. But
Yeah.
we recorded it about a year ago. So we were meant to record it as release as 3 separate songs.
Right.
We released our debut single "Siren"
Yeah. Siren was a
about
single. Yeah.
yeah, we released that about a year ago, and then the pandemic hit, and it just threw all of our promotion stuff like out the window. So all of our gigs and all of that sort of stuff, it just
Yeah.
went out of the window. So last gig we played was at the Horn, I believe, on the 29th of February, I want to say.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's where I first met you. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Um, and we were so buzzing after that gig, and we were just like,
Yeah.
we've got the world at our feet. We're gonna have such a great year, and like maybe if we could even make a quick stop over to Europe. And we're looking at dates in Europe, and
Wow.
we had so much stuff planned. And then it was just like a kind of, okay,
Yeah.
to hell with this sort of thing now. And we ended up releasing it as an EP because to be honest, I didn't know what was going to happen to
Yeah.
me, and like Tom's was a doctor. Oh, he
Yeah.
still is a doctor, but he was working on the front line as well in another hospital. And there was more than a fleeting concern saying, well, are we actually going to make this? Are we going to make it to the end of this pandemic?
It's a grave thought, isn't it? But I'm in a way, I'm glad that you faced that as a means to still put out art. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of put aside, because I feel like, especially, it's definitely, as me, when like with my music or whatever the heck, whenever I write, at least before the pandemic, there was a lot of ego fueling it. But I feel like now, because it's been taken away for such a long time, it's kind of like, wait, no, why don't we just do it because we like it? Why shouldn't we have to wait? Let's just find out. I mean, like, how was the reception for it when you dropped? Because I saw a few articles regarding it, had good reviews. Like, whether it was just for yourself or your friends and colleagues, even, like, was it just well received?
Yeah, I mean, everybody who listened to it loved it.
Yeah, sweet.
Like,
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Thank you. I think it was just a case of trying to promote something without any gigs behind it as well.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Especially as it's our first release, so it wasn't like we have a captive audience for it either.
Yeah.
So that was where we kind of struggled in terms of timing of the release, and I think if I'm glad that we, as you said, we just put it out there, because I think waiting longer would have just been, like, it wouldn't have really achieved much, considering we wouldn't be able to tour anything.
Yeah.
So like you said, just if you do great art, like, just for the sake of doing great art, you might as well just put it out there.
Yeah.
And yes, but the reviews we received for Feed the Poor, Eat the Rich, they're fantastic, and the people who took the time to do interviews with us and really understand it as well, because a lot of we kind of felt hard done by. I certainly personally did, because I thought we put so much effort into writing those songs. And for example, a song like Siren, that wasn't just something like we came up with in a few weeks. Like, I wrote the acoustic demo for Siren like years and years ago, and I've been paring it down and down and down and down. Then you get the layers down, and you work with Ian Flynn, who's a brilliant producer with us as well. And then you get the vocals down. And I mean, I remember myself and Tom working on those like week in, week out for like months. We were paring it down and road testing it, and then we put like the kind of funky guitar third, fourth, fifth layers, which you only get to appreciate on like the 50th listen, which is what we really want to do. We want to make rock music that you listen to 50 times, and then you're like, on the 50th time, you're like, I didn't notice he did that. I didn't notice he did that. And we've got such a great band where I mean, Tom's such a great vocalist, and then you got Brian guitar, who's just becoming more and more skilled, like every day it seems. And then I'm blessed as the bassist to be working with Florine, who is just an insane drummer, and we've worked on those layers and those syncopations so much in such depth, and there's so much. It's literally blood, sweat, and tears. So I mean, to have not been able to play that and perform that in front of people, it definitely leaves us. It's left us hanging a bit.
There's a hole that needs to be filled. There is a well. There's a void. Like, I mean, like, it sucks because you guys were so good live. I remember when I saw you at the Horn gig in February, supporting Skeleton, and it was like you had the neon sign, you had hot sauce and merch, and I was like, holy crap, this is fantastic. And I remember making you, like, your face light up during sound check, because I caught you playing Interpol on bass, and you were like,
yes.
And you were like, no one said that to me before. You were so like, oh my god, someone else knows about this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was a great night. And
you were playing the new, I think you're doing the new.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of my warm-up tracks. It was the first track that I ever learned to play on bass, I believe, and it was the reason I actually started to learn to play bass as well, because when I first heard that intro, which was on Interpol's debut, Turn on the Bright Lights,
so good.
I didn't realize that the bass could actually sound like that. And
Neither.
It was like one of the first things where I was like, well, usually guitar opens rock music songs, and it was like mind-blowing. Then you kind of, like, you know, when you're younger as well, you kind of have that sort of realization, that awakening, and that was one of the songs that did it for me. And since then, I've just been obsessed with the Interpol. And there's actually, if you listen really deeply, like for example, Siren, which we mentioned, that opens with a kind of semi, like, is a version of me kind of paying homage to, or is it homage or homage? I never remember.
Homage, yeah.
I want to pronounce it like it rhymes with fromage, yeah. But the song Siren itself, it starts with a kind of tribute to that song, The New by Interpol. And then it kind of bursts into a rolling, bubbling sort of thing where I put like lots of triplets and couplets in there as well to make it kind of rhythmically interesting. So I mean, there's definitely a lot of Interpol Interpol infused bass lines as well. Although I think our drum, the way we make it slightly different is our drum lines are really, really relatively busy, I think, as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention, that because you mentioned on the 50th listen, you understand this, or like you hear that for the first time. When I was listening to I think it was recently, it must have been at the start of lockdown, I revisited Bright Lights, and and like Old School One is like one of the obvious songs everyone knows, but I only just understood how tight the drum fills are.
Oh yeah,
listen, like during the verses, just like these little like snare and hi-hat fills. I'm like, oh my, that's tight, like that's quick and it's concise. And I mean, like, now that you mentioned that as well regarding your drum, I can hear that too. It creates a big difference. It does. It comes through. It's so good. It's so good.
I'm glad you get it, man. And I think the great thing is that you've seen us live as well, so you have that reference, so you can see like the sort of the neon sign, the energy that we play with. Like it's very.
You got in the crowd to play bass. That was good as well. You took a little walk. That was good.
Those were good days, man. Those were good days. Like the days where you didn't have to socially distance, and that was a really weird time as well, because I was in A&E, and I got like a lot of A&E like friends and people to come down from Luton to the Horn in St Albans as well. And it was just like, it was a Saturday night, I remember. It was such good fun. That was like basically the last good night we ever had.
same here. Me, last good night I ever had as a Horn customer watching live music. That was it for me too, that night.
And all the bands on that night were great crack as well. And like you said, we had we sold. I think so. You mentioned the sauce that we sold, so people might know not know, because we only sold it at that gig, and I think maybe one or two others. But there's a brilliant guy called Dan from a company called Sauce That Rocks. He's on Twitter as well, and he got in touch with us, and he's like, I make hot sauce for rock bands. Do you want it in? And I was like, hell yes! I've been waiting my whole life for somebody to say that I can do this. So yes, and we made it's so good. Like I got it right here. That's amazing.
Sell it.
Well, I can't sell it because we're down to, I think this is like our last 2 bottles or something.
Oh, sick!
We made about 90. We made about 90 bottles. Is that showing okay? Yeah.
You can sort of see. Yeah, if you bring it one more time.
Yeah, we had a sticker around this as well, which kind of gives all the ingredients and stuff. It's a bit glare.
Nice. But yeah, Sauce That Rocks.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So we went down to Surrey, and we made this brilliant hot sauce, which I'm not joking. Like, people were like, okay, yeah, sure, a rock band making a hot sauce. How good can that taste? Mate, it's so the other hot sauce that we have is
it's got Nando's.
Nando's, yeah. Fair enough. Nando's peri peri.
It's my go-to.
Best. Yeah, absolutely.
Simple.
Top 5 sauces in the market.
Oh yeah, sure. If we're talking sauce politics, it's in my top 3. No cap. Medium Nando's peri peri. Just anything.
Sriracha for me for me has been the really good one. Have you tried sriracha mayo though?
No, that's a thing.
Yeah, you have to check out sriracha mayo, because like it will transform all your sandwiches, because it doesn't make it like spicy or like overwhelming. But sriracha mayo is like,
it's a kick.
Why would you ever have mayo if such a thing as sriracha mayo exists?
I mean, I knew about the because like right now I got the Nando's mayo, like the peri peri mayo you can buy in bottles.
Yeah,
They
the
know about the
Perinaise.
they know about the sriracha mayo. That's
No,
mad.
the Nando's one, I think it does it. It tries to straddle both the hot sauce and the mayonnaise markets without really achieving a fair mix. The sriracha mayo is really, really good, and it goes great with anything. And do you know what else goes great with anything?
Oh, go on.
This hot sauce.
Sweet.
So we did like perfectly. We got like stickers all over. We only managed to sell it at these 3 gigs because I mean, like talk about timing. I think we made it early February or something, and now the thing is, we thought that at the end of February, so yeah, that was our last gig, and we still had like loads and loads of bottles, so probably like 50 or 60, as if we didn't have enough problems. Now I've got like 60 bottles worth of hot sauce. Like, how much can one man physically have? And then like I started like giving out to like friends and whatever when we were allowed to meet again and stuff, and like people were like, no, this is good. And like the best meals that I've had this year have been courtesy of this hot sauce. Like, I don't know if you managed to taste any during that.
Nah, didn't get a single
if
tip,
you did,
yeah.
If you did, you would remember, because if people look at our Instagram page, I believe from that time, so we did a really cool thing where you could take we did a deal that if you buy a t-shirt and
I remember seeing that,
like you get a discount and you get a free Polaroid that we did like a Polaroid booth. It was just fun. It was just so fun. And that hot sauce that we made, there was one guy that night, like granted he was a bit tipsy, and he bought the bottle and he just drank straight from it.
Oh, I was so hoping you were going to say that. I was so hoping he down it. I was so either he's going to pour it in his pint or he's going to drink it raw. The two things were in my head.
And then Mina, my wife, who was helping us with the stall as well, she was talking to other people, and like there was one guy who said, "Look, I really, really want this sauce because he takes it and everything. And he said, I really, really want it, but I've got to go to a bar after this, and we're going to go like dancing and stuff. Like, I can't carry this with me."
Yeah.
And in the end, he just bought it and he carried on like dancing into the night with it. He wanted it that badly. So I hope that whoever that guy was, like, I hope that made your lockdown.
Fair play, mate.
I hope that is your lockdown.
That's your memory.
But I have to. I can't escape this without actually telling you what's in this. And
okay. Go on.
So my favourite drink is the old fashioned.
I respect that highly. I respect that.
Ernest Hemingway favourite. It's a gentleman's drink.
It's an archer's favourite.
It has. It's a classy drink. And my idea with Dan from Sauce with the Rocks was like, okay, if we push the boat out, my favourite ever cocktail that I've had has actually been a burnt peach old fashioned, which was at some trendy bar at
excuse me
somewhere. Like it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, and that's a drink which always stuck with me.
Yeah.
And rather is also part of the experience as well. And I just felt like if I could create a sauce, it sounds crazy now I'm saying this. If I could create a sauce that helped me relive that experience whilst giving such intense taste that it rocked everything else off the market.
Oh man!
Like, maybe we would be doing something which would change the world, and then like we managed to do it. So we, in the sauce we put like bourbon, high quality bourbon. I was like, isn't that a waste?
Nice.
I was like, isn't that a waste? And he was like, no, this is going to taste amazing. We burned peaches in it, like, and not just like we didn't just put peaches in it. We like flambéed the peaches and then we put it. So we get the caramel flavor in it as well and get those notes on notes on notes. You see what I'm saying with the music as well? You see, like,
how many left? Dude, I need one of these.
We've got a handful. Maybe I can post you one. If I do, then maybe I can post you one.
Dude, please, if you can, if there's a way to send a vial of bourbon, hot peach burnt hot sauce to my house right now, please. I'll appreciate that greatly.
No problem. I'll definitely be happy to. Yeah.
I'm so sorry about this whole bollocks of the year, because you had everything lined up. You had the possibility of playing Europe, you had the EP, you had the good live shows, and you had the hot sauce. I'm so sorry. Dude,
this is a year where I took the government to court I had a baby,
Yeah.
and I still think the hot sauce is the best thing I've done all year.
Nishant Joshi, you're my hero. You're my hero. Like,
if there's any listeners who want a taste of the hot sauce,
I'll put a link if there's a way.
yeah. Well, if you tweet in Miko or myself, I'll be happy to send the remaining ones to you, because I think it's unfair to hold this back any longer. If your mouth is salivating.
A good 10 minutes talking about the hot sauce. No way you're not going to flog it at the end. No way
No,
you're not going to flog it. I'm going to make you flog it.
I'll send it for free. I'll send it for free. I'll send it for free. There's we only got a few left, so these will almost be like collector's editions now. Yeah.
I'm never going to open it. It's like the bloody Star Wars figures from the 70s or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
box.
Collectors.
Bring a girl home. What's that? Hot sauce.
Yeah. Oh, limited edition.
Limited edition.
Signed. The 2020 edition. The pandemic edition.
The pandemic edition. Signed in a frame, unopened. I will never open it.
I'm not kidding. Me and my wife by ourselves, we've probably been through about 20 bottles ourselves. 20 bottles ourselves. When my in-laws came from Gibraltar, or anybody has come by plane, like over the summer when we were allowed to, and they've come and tasted the sauce and said, how many can we take?
Yeah.
And obviously fluid restrictions and stuff. Like my in-laws, they paid extra for that luggage to take a case of sauce back. That's how serious people are about the sauce. Yeah. My in-laws hate everything that I do, by the way. This sauce, they're like, you know what? This guy's all right.
It's fine.
He's okay. We accept you. We accept you into our family now. Just give me some of that sauce.
I don't get it. After everything that you do, just that. That's all it takes for you to get accepted back into their arms and your family. It's just that. It's just hot sauce.
Oh, definitely. I definitely think that I need to take this sauce to promoters.
Yeah.
I think this needs to be
it's a whole thing now. It's a whole thing. There's a few other bands locally who are doing it. I think Gorillaz just released their like a hot sauce.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a trend.
Yeah,
bands doing hot sauce. You need to bring it forward.
Some of them are really good as well. Yeah. Some of them are really good. And for any bands that are listening out there, I really recommend getting in touch with Sauce That Rocks. You got his name's Dan. He's got a really good kitchen in Surrey. Again, now with rules and stuff, I don't know what situation it's going to be like. But I know that as soon as we're allowed to
get more hot sauce,
like that's going to be one of the first things that we do. Like we've tried making something similar at home, we just can't do it. But we're going to go down to Surrey, or maybe we'll ask Dan to do the same recipe and then make another batch. But we would love to do that.
Mate, that's cool. I mean, we've covered so much in this episode. I didn't expect to have the main feature be the hot sauce pandemic.
Did we talk about anything apart from hot sauce?
No. We did. But I feel like the hot sauce has now taken the lead as the main subject of this episode for the end, and I think that makes it totally beautiful. I think it makes it absolutely gorgeous. I have one little last quick question for you, though. Just one little one, tiny one. It's a generic one, but I ask it to everyone who comes on. Has there been any music, like a local band to you, or like an up and coming act you've listened to recently? What's been like the soundtrack for you?
Really good question. So during March, April time, I was listening to Falsehead's debut album.
Yeah.
I think they're a brilliant band, and I don't just say that because I am full disclosure. I'm good friends with Luke, the front man, and for what it's worth, not wanting to plug it, but it would be rude of me not to say that we've also got a new podcast out, which is called One Conversation from the End of the World, where we talk about uncomfortable stuff, and we trash talk each other mostly. But Falseheads, when I was walking to and from A&E, to and from work every day, that's what I was listening to, and that was my soundtrack during like the toughest times of the pandemic. And there was one song which I recall like really, really like intimately, like after a really hard night shift, I was just stood, like I think it was the day before lockdown in March, and I was stood there shattered outside my front door, absolutely shattered. And there's a brilliant song called Steady on Your Knees. And I was just looking, like breathing in that fresh spring air
Yeah.
and closing my eyes and just thinking, like, this country doesn't know what it's going to go through over the next few weeks and next months. So yeah, False Heads, it's all there, but you're dreaming. Brilliant album.
Yeah.
I'll also I should mention, because they're Essex and technically not a local band. I have to say, Luna Rosa, I think just a fantastic world-class band already. I think loads of people have been sleeping on Luna Rosa. I was so hoping to see them this year, but I think if anybody hasn't heard Luna Rosa, definitely have a listen to a song called MK Ultra, which I reckon is actually one of the best British rock songs.
Okay.
Quite possibly I've ever heard. It has everything we discussed about, all the layers, all the intricacies.
Yeah.
You hear it 50 times and then you realise this is just better.
Was it Luna Rosa? Was that?
Luna Rosa.
Luna Rosa.
Two words. Yeah.
Awesome. Right. Is there any last little quick messages you want to throw out to anyone listening at all? If there is anyone listening out there, you know.
I'm really sorry that we only have a few bottles of sauce left. But if you do tweet me, I'm on at the Palpitations on Twitter and Instagram. If you message me, then I'll be happy to send you a free bottle of sauce, because it really is that good, and I want to spread some sort of
joy,
happiness.
Sauce.
Yeah, why not? That's the only thing we can spread right now, apart from COVID. And I hope everybody keeps safe during this tough time, and hopefully vaccines around the corner. And thanks to Juicebox as well. I don't want to go on, but I have to say thanks to Juicebox, because
no, thank you,
Luke Hinton as well, the promoter who's kind of given us our breaks and consistently booked us, and give us a chance. So thanks to Luke and everybody at Juicebox as well. And thanks, Mickey. It was great to talk to you, mate.
No worries, man. Don't worry about it, honestly. And thank you for just working so hard for everyone. Like, I know it becomes quite a tired thing to say, oh, thank the NHS, but it's true. Like, thank you, mate. Big time, for many a reason. Like, I have family who work there too, so yeah, it really, yeah. I'm sorry that people think clapping's the best way to show it to you, but yeah.
Well, look, all I can say for that, I say I got a parking ticket while I was out to see a patient the other week.
Oh my!
I appealed it. And then they said, no, blah, 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 you can't do this because whatever reason. I think their reason was you were in too long or something like that, an unreasonable amount of time with the patient. I was just like, God, can't bloody do this. And then I said, fine, I'll pay the fine, but I'm going to send them the snarkiest email ever. And I said, can I pay the fine in claps?
In claps. You should get the address of wherever, like, you would pay that in person, and just drive outside, just stand there. And just do that, and then wave, then go away. That's what like, you should do. Just sort of give it a wave. Not even like be rude. Don't even flip the bird at them. Just literally get out of your car, clap, and go, and drive.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
I mean, it was good for human morale, I'd say, to see people's faces. But in general, it kind of felt, I don't know. I don't want to make an issue out of it, but you know what I mean. Especially after something like you just told me there. Like, it's just.
Yeah, it was co-opted by the government, and that was the real thing. And then I don't know if you saw, but I think it was back in May, we did a protest outside Downing Street, which was during the clap for care. I think it was during the final clap for carers, actually.
Yeah.
And we did a kind of live video of doctors protesting outside Downing Street. And Boris Johnson, the only time he acknowledged our existence during the pandemic is when he walked out at 8:00 on that day, or was it 7 or 8, to clap for carers, and he clapped in front of all the cameras. Then he looked outside the gates of Downing Street and he saw us, and he turned straight back in, and that was headline news straight away. So yeah, there's been a lot.
Yeah, been a lot. There's been a lot. Like, that's all I can say. There's been a lot. There's been so much, like, personally and universally. It was so good seeing you, because obviously I'm friends with you on Facebook, so I'm seeing whatever you share constantly, and the things and the stories that you tell, and it kept me it humbled me and reminded me that like it's not just me and I shouldn't be so selfish. So I learned a lot from you just from things you post alone. So thank you for that too.
That in itself is really humbling, and thanks, Mika. I hope we can meet up for a drink and a gig soon, mate.
That'll be beautiful. That'll be absolutely beautiful. I mean, I'm hoping that will be what I'm praying by the earliest, maybe late summer, realistically. Well, not even realistically, in a high hope sense, but you know, we'll see. I think all I can do is hope. All we can do is really hope. But there's a way. So
I think if 2020 summer was okay-ish and lying low-ish, I would hope that 2021 summer will be
better with a vaccine,
back to normal. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. It's nice to keep, even though it may seem so far out of reach. I think it's good, important to like just have a little bit of hope. You know, you need it for the soul and the heart.
I mean, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask Dan to make some more make some more sources. I'll give away these ones for. I'll give away these ones to whoever wants. I'll post them. Let's spread some joy. You've motivated me actually. Let's spread some joy. Let's send these ones for free to whoever wants, and then if anybody else wants a taste or whatever, you can send a message for me, and then we can put out an order for Dan. Maybe let's see what we can do. Spread some.
Do a little bit of something, just a little Christmas joy. Okay, on that more positive note, thank you so much for coming on. No, genuinely, like I wanted to chat to you about this for such a long time before even this was a platform where I can do it on. So this has been just absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much, Nishant. I really hope to get to see you soon, mate.
You too, Mika. Cheers.
No worries, man. Take it easy, yeah? Have a nap. Go to sleep tonight. Go to sleep.
What's sleep?
What is sleep? Aim for 6 hours minimum. That's my order of you.
With a 5-month-old baby.
With a 5-month-old baby, yeah.